Hello everyone. I know you've already seen the title of this video, but hmm, hmm, what the hell is this? Okay, so yeah, sometime over the last, we don't really know, like, it might have been the last 24, 48 hours, or it might have been a while, but sometime recently anyway, ADV's website no longer went to what was essentially a legal document that outlined all of the all the legal rubbish that, well, not rubbish, but all the legal stuff that is just super complicated, and obviously all the rest of it. It's all to do with ADV shutting down, what was happening to the assets and all that stuff. That's where the website went to, or at least I don't know if it redirected to that, or if that was just what the website was just that legal document saying how the company shut down and blah blah blah. But just recently, as I said, this was pointed out by a member on the Fandom Post forums known as Jimmy G, I think it was. Yeah, and he said that he went to ADV's website just recently and saw this, which is very interesting indeed. We have a new-ish looking logo for ADV Films. It's still pretty much similar to the old one, but it's certainly a much more high-quality image than probably the ones that have been around before, and it certainly looks different. And then we get this random number generator thing going on at the bottom, which might eventually become a countdown or something. So, like the title of this video questions, are ADV going to return? Is the brand ADV going to return? Because ADV themselves kind of still exist. I mean, they always existed. Basically what happened when they went under, like the business, when the ADV dissolved, basically, they sold themselves to themselves. They sold all their assets and all things that made them ADV and the functioning company on a day-to-day basis to Section 23 Films, or the Section 23, as well as a myriad of other companies that are all part of like a certain group that all have fingers in many pies to do with the companies that we know as Sentai Filmworks and Made in Japan and Acer Holdings and Switchblade Pictures, stuff like that. Yeah, that's basically what ADV became. It just became a multitude of all the all those different companies. All their assets got sold off to Section 23, sold themselves to themselves, and that's where all their assets went. But it's not as if the ADV brand completely disappeared. It still cropped up every now and then. We saw it on the Elfin Lied Blu-ray release, which I had meant to bring up, but let's quickly load that up so I can show you. Elfin Lied import, because I'm on the UK site, but here we go. And as you can see, ADV Films, and this came out in the 3rd of September 2013, so yeah, a good 4 years after ADV went under, we got a product that said their name on it, or the brand on it at least. So yeah, that was sort of an interesting development. I don't really know what this really means. Like, let's put it that maybe ADV are going to come back, or the brand obviously is going to come back. Like I said, they've continued to exist, just in different forms. Does the ADV brand hold weight still? I mean, they were one of the first anime companies in America, not the first, but one of the first to distribute anime in a non-edited format. Some edits were made, I'm sure, on certain products over the years, in the early years especially, but for the most part they licensed and distributed anime as anime, rather than what we would have got before, which is stuff, like Space Battleship Yamato was Star Blazers, and Macross was Robotech, and etc, etc. Beast King Go Line was Voltron. That sort of stuff like that. ADV and Animego were basically the first few companies. I think Animego was the first that came about and said, no, we're just going to distribute it anime as anime. This is now a big enough thing that we feel we can just call it what it is and distribute it as such. So yeah, ADV had been around for a while, from 1992 onwards. I think their first license was something called like Devil Hunter Yoko or something. It was like a Toho movie. That was like the first thing they ever did. I looked most of this up on Wikipedia. I did know some of it, but I wanted to refresh my brain, so I'll refresh my memory on it all. So, but what happened in the first place to let ADV go under first time round? From what I remember from the articles that I had read in the past, it was basically just down to really, really poor management and just poor business decisions all round. One of the most key poor business decisions that was going on was in the anime boom years, which was 2006, 2005, 2006, when anime was really, really popular in North America, and all anime companies were licensing everything they could get their hands on. The money was, the money just kept rolling in, and some really poor decisions were made. So this is something that came out from the Funimation trying to sue ADV. I forget the ins and outs of it, but they were essentially suing what is now Sentai Filmworks and stuff, and Made in Japan, etc. Section 23, to do with something to do with the Lost. Because Funimation ended up distributing some of ADV's titles, and something to do with that. I forget. I'm not going to try and pretend I know, because I don't. I forget. But yeah, some interesting things that came out of it was from the court documents that we got to see the prices that ADV paid for some shows. And in hindsight, we can see that they overpaid for some shows. Like so if we look down this list, say for example, what was the worst one? I think the worst one is where is it? This one here, Karu Phantom Memory, which is like a sci-fi series that, you know, I've not seen, so I can't really say it's good or not, but I haven't heard too many amazing things about it, and they spent almost $1 million licensing that show. Was that show ever gonna stand a chance of recouping almost $1 million after you've dubbed it, after you've done all the packaging, etc., etc.? This is just for the base product. It's like, we want the rights to be able to distribute this show. Okay, $960,000, $1 million if we round it up. Like, it's insane, absolutely insane. It probably cost over $1 million in the end before they actually got it out of the, out onto shelves. It probably did go above $1 million. And then we got some other examples. Guyver Bio-Booster Control, which is the 2006 like remake. Well, not remake, but like another version of the Guyver story. It was originally done as an OVA series back in the 90s, as well as a one-off OVA as well. But yeah, Guyver, that was almost $750,000. Again, I haven't actually seen the show yet. I want to see the show. It looks like something I might enjoy, but again, there's no way was it probably worth that much. There's some really staggering numbers here, and there's some really staggering differences. I mean, you see like Guyver and, as I say, Karu Phantom Memory are like super expensive shows, and then you see stuff like Comic Party. I presume that's for the sequel series to Comic Party Revolution, because Right Stuff had the first series. But yeah, $30,000. Not a lot at all. That's a reasonable amount. Utare Ramono, which unfortunately I haven't seen a lot of these shows yet, but yeah, that's only 100,000. Stuff like Welcome to the NHK, which is a fantastic series, was 250,000 pretty much. Like, that's not, I mean, it's still a lot. I imagine by today's standards that's perhaps a lot. This is the thing, I don't really know how this compares to the prices that a lot of companies are paying today. I'd be surprised if Sentai Filmworks are paying on average as much as a lot of these shows. I reckon that Sentai Filmworks are probably on average spending maybe close to something like that on each show, maybe, or maybe even considerably less. I don't know, but yeah, some really crazy prices in here, and you can kind of see how, I mean, this was all done like 2006 to, like, this is all within a year. They spent essentially $9 million in a year on these shows, and that's just, that's upfront. ADV dubbed everything. You got all the packaging, etc., all the mastering, the authoring of the discs, and everything like that. That $9 million probably ends up becoming close to 12, 14 million. after all that work. Maybe. I don't actually know. I don't work in the business. I would. It's just me throwing random numbers out there. Don't take it too seriously. But yeah, you know, basically it's going to go up regardless. Like, so yeah, there's some really, really crazy prices. So yeah, ADV just made some bad decisions, and you know, the name sort of got dragged through the mud, at least from the people that follow the industry with a keen eye, or at least a passing eye. ADV kind of just fell apart, and they, like I said, they put out a lot of shows that probably weren't worth the price. They were very expensive, and yeah, it makes. I mean, and that's just the anime part. Like, they expanded into manga. They did an English version of New Type and stuff. They just overexpanded and overestimated the demand, I think, of the consumers. And yeah, in the end it all came crashing down. So it's surprising to me that we're in this position where we might see them return, or at least the brand again. Like, the brand might return. So that's the question I'm going to put to you. Does the brand hold up? Do we need ADV back? I feel like Sentai Filmworks have done... I feel like Sentai Filmworks... I mean, Sentai Filmworks is ADV in 2015, and the few years prior, obviously. But yeah, they are the new ADV. They're run by pretty much the same people, but they're run in a far more intelligent way. I really am impressed with the way that Sentai Filmworks go about their business. They pick up a lot of shows, but they don't dub every show. And then the decision to now, we're not going to hold back subtitle only shows to DVD only. We're going to put those out on Blu-ray as well. You know, if a Sentai Filmworks show gets licensed, you know, 99 times out of 100 these days it's going to get a Blu-ray at the very least, and you know, maybe 50 times out of 100 you'll get it dubbed, or 40 times out of 100 or something. You know, it's just that they're doing a very, very good job. And Made in Japan are doing an awesome job. Like, they don't put out as much stuff as I would like personally, but I think they're doing a good job as well. And it's weird to me that this has even happened, this thing's even appeared. I just don't. I really wonder, do we need ADV as a brand back? Like, I don't really like branding. I've never really liked branding. I mean, I like to know you can trust the companies, and you know, so when you see a company put out a certain product, I guess that's branding. You have trust in the brand, you buy said product, especially if you're interested in the original thing, obviously, not the anime itself. But you know, if Discotek puts something out, I'm going to trust them. If NIS puts something out, I trust them. Sentai puts something out, I trust them. Funimation, Funimation I don't trust quite as much as the others, and Viz is again another company I don't trust as much as the others. But yeah, I don't think I really need to say too much else more about this. I've kind of gone on a rather long tangent about this, a very simple thing. Like, ADV might be coming back, yes or no? What do you think? And I'll leave it there, shall I? So yeah, Home Blaze, thanks for watching, see you next time.